Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's live stream. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay and things are going well with the smooth launch of the stream. If not, just let us know in the comments if you can't hear me or quality is a bit down. But anyway, hello and welcome to tonight's live stream. Tonight's live stream is question time, so that's essentially a chance for you to ask away any questions you have about games development, about myself, my past, future, and ambitions, whatever you want to do. Likes, dislikes, doesn't mind. It's all game for tonight. So ask away any question you like. Meanwhile, while we're getting warmed up, I'm going to be creating a door system that someone asked about actually earlier today. So they asked me how to show them how to do a door with a security level on it. So I thought I'd show how to do that whilst we're taking questions in through the chat window. So yeah, let us know what questions you have, and we're going to get started off. I'll try to explain as I go along, but obviously I'll keep my eye on the questions, the chat, sorry, as much as possible. So I'm just going to create a new folder here for my door. I'm going to go to a fancy looking door really. So I'm going to go import, not do that. And I already made some stuff. This is stuff I've been using for my students this week because I've been showing them how to do doors. So we've got 3 textures there. So I've got a diffuse texture, an emissive texture, and a roughness map. And I will also import a mesh that I have here. Like so. So Kim, with the first question, I have AI for a character. I want to limit the vision when my player character is crouching in the grass. What would be your best approach? Do you mean okay? Yeah, Kim, that what you're just saying there is a good approach to do it. So you can reduce the vision of the enemy if the condition is the character's in the grass, and all those other conditions you have. That's one way of doing it. That won't work with multiplayer stuff because you don't want it to affect everyone. You only want to affect the player that's hidden. But if you're doing a single player game, that will work just fine. Hi, Miss. Thank you for coming by. So I made these doors the other day in Maya. Okay, so we're gonna make them look a bit fancy. First of all, let's go into my material. Get rid of that, and we're gonna drag those 3 textures that I made into there like so. So that's going to be my base color, emissive color, and my roughness map. And metallic, I'm going to give it a value of 0.6. If you have any questions about what I'm doing on the screen, by the way, just shout it out. And if I want to see how it looks on the mesh, I can click on the mesh here, then click on the little teapot icon in this preview window. It will show me what it's going to look like. Okay, so my emissive map is there, and I'm going to bring that down like so. Okay. And we'll come back to this later. And a door one needs another material as well, so I'm just going to create a new material. Door frame that. And I'm going to use the same roughness map. And give it a colour, that sort of greyish. And the same metallic value I gave the other one, 0.6. North. How do you handle combination of keys in Unreal? So, for example, if I press the left or right key and jump key, my character will sidestep left and right to avoid getting him. Okay. So the way you do that, if I can make a new actor, we need a new actor anyway for our door, so we'll go for a new actor here. Door. So one way of doing what you're saying is by using a gate. So for example, if you wanted to have a combination of keys, let's say we have the left key, okay, like so, and when you press the left key, actually let's do press left key. Now go into a gate, and the gate will open when you push the left key. Then, when you push the E key, it'll enter the gate, okay, and then it'll do the stuff, okay. And when you release the left key, you want to close the gate, and that's basically how you would do it. So your left will open it, and then E will allow E to go through it to do this other stuff here. That's one way of doing it. Probably the easiest, straightforward way of doing it. Gate's pretty cool. I should make a video on it at some point. Anyway, we don't need this for our door, so we'll close that. So the door, we're going to go to viewport, and we're going to add static mesh. Number 1, and it's going to be the door itself. Like so. And we're going to add another static mesh. And it's going to be a door frame. And I don't want that to be a child, I want it to be a sibling, so not linked to each other. And we're going to add a box collision. And that'll be the trigger. Again, don't want it connected at all to anything there. Let's rename this one door frame, like so. Okay, so here's our door. I'm going to go into my event graph, and I'm going to do a few events here. I'm going to do a custom event for open door, and I'm going to do another one for closed door, and we need a trigger, so we click on the trigger and the component list, and that allows us to do the add-on overlap. Component begin overlap, and we also need to click on it again to get the end overlap on component end overlap. Okay, so let's do the opening of the door. So if the other actor here is equals to the player character, I'll go into a branch like so, and let's just give us a bit more space here. And if that's the case, then we're going to enable input on the player controller. So this door will now listen for inputs coming from the player controller. Now we're going to do exactly the same, but we're going to disable input for the end overlap. The other actor in there, into that branch. This is now disable input. So you can't open the door from across the map. Okay, let's move that to the side over here. So there's our 2 triggers. And then we do the actual input. So if I'm going to go and do my interact input, I'm going to go edit project settings, and then input action mapping, and this one's going to be called interact, and I'm going to use my E key for this. Close that. So when I call it interact event, this will now work if I'm in the trigger because we've enabled input. So this will now register the input, and when we press it, we want to call the open door function. For now, that'll do. We'll do the closed door later. Okay. Okay, so Kim again with question. I have an arrow hitting a character. What I want is for the player to fall depending on the direction of the arrow. So, for example, if the arrows come from behind the character, it will fall on his face. My approach is to take the forward vector of the arrow and then use the launch character with the forward vector multiplied by a value for good effect. Is that a good approach, or is that a better way? No, that'll work just fine. If you turn on ragdoll at the same time, you'll apply a force to it and it will launch it in that certain direction as well. That's the best way of doing it. Alternatively, you have different animations for different directions, and you just play the certain animation based on which direction you just got hit. Hi, Joshua. Hopefully you're okay. Anyway, right, so go to open door. It's going to call this event when we interact with it. And we're going to go simply to a timeline. And door opening. And double click to open it. New float track. And we'll call this door position. And we're going to shift click on here to add our 2 points. So shift click once and twice. The first point we're going to go 0. Second point value is 0. And the second point is going to be a value of time of 1 and a value of 1. And don't forget to change the length to be matching the maximum of the graph. I'm going to compile that and close that. So that gets my door position. So I chose 0 and 1 because that means 0 is it's not moved at all and 1 is its final position. So all we do here is we multiply this door position output by another float, and that's how far you want it to go. So I want to move mine about 180. Let's do 170 actually, like so. And then I'm going to add a relative location. So I'm going to drag my door out because that's the thing that's moving. And we're going to do relative location, set relative location, and track that into the update. Now split your vector here so you get the 3 individual pins. Go to your viewport, and you can figure out which direction it has to go. So mine needs to go in the X direction. Okay, so I'm going to drag my result here to my X, like so, and click compile. And that's the open door pretty much done. So I can drag this now into the world. Let's actually first of all make our box trigger big enough. No, it's Diddy. Like so. A bit larger. Cool. So if I go up to the door, push E, door opens. Cool. Okay, so I want it to go the other way because I've got all these arrows on the texture pointing the other way. So all I have to do is multiply this by negative 170. And it'll now do it the other way. Like so. Perfect. Okay, so I can't go from my door frame. That's because the mesh has used a simple collision box. So if I turn on the show simple collision, you'll see it's like a box. See this bit here? That means it's not going to let me go through that hole. However, if I look at my complex collision instead, you can see it's more of a net around it. So I can very simply just say use complex collision instead of the simple collision. So if I go down to where I see my collision complexity, I can use complex collision as simple. So it's going to use that net rather than the box. So when I walk through it, it would allow me. Cool. What question have we got here? Kim, how do I stop a character from moving whilst montage is playing? So for example, I play a melee attack montage currently. If I push the forward key, the character will move whilst playing the montage. So when you do play montage, like so, all you do before you get to that is just use that disable input. You just do that before, and then on completed, you enable input. That's the easiest way of doing it. Okay, that's how you do it. How do you make controller support for from ID Crafter? It already has controller support. If you want to make the input controls, so for example, I have an interact function I just made. So if I go into my project settings and go into my input, I've got interact here and it uses E. If I click on the little plus icon next to the interact, I can add another value to this. And here I can use the gamepad, for example. So I may want to use the cross button or the A button on the Xbox controller, which would be the gamepad face button bottom. And that will now use that button as well to open the door. So I can push either key and it'll work. That's how we get controller support. It's already in there. You just got to tell it which ones to use. You can see it already being used in the jump, for example. Here. And Nexus mappings, you can see it's using the gamepad already. I see, Kim. Kim's asked, because his montage is playing, he wants to be able to hit other keys whilst he's playing it. Not entirely sure about that one, Kim. I have to think about that one a bit more. You can definitely disable input on the actor that's playing this and make the montage listen out for inputs. So that may be a thing you could do. Make the montage listen for inputs. But I have to have an experiment with that one. Nicola Bozin. Hello, Ryan. What could be the cause of AI perception site registers objects as stimulus that don't have the AI perception stimulus component? So, Nicola, you'll find that without the AI perception stimulus, it will still actually register, I think, characters or anything that the player is controlling. It's something like that. It will automatically do those because it assumes if the player is controlling it, that's what it should be looking for. I can't remember if it's the player, if it's anything the player is controlling, or if it's all characters. But they will work regardless with the AI perception. That's why when you get the on-target perception updated or AI perception update, the stimulus update, you will check what has actually triggered the update in the AI perception stimulus. Joshua, are you familiar with the fox, chicken, and grain puzzle? Is that the one with the river, where you have to get them across the river without eating each other? Kim, I still have some velocity whilst jumping and playing jump animation. So if I am still in the air and the jump animation has stopped, it goes back to idle mode and looks as though it's walking in the air. Any different way to overcome this? Yes, Kim, you need a jump loop animation. I don't have it on here, but you can check it out in the third person project example. There's a jump loop. So the animation of it looping in the middle of the air until it lands. When it lands, that's when it will change into a idle or walking. Okay, so on our door, I'm going to make these lights change colour based on... Actually, let's do the security level stuff, because that's what I wanted to do. So on my door, I'm going to give it a variable and call it security level. And that's going to be an integer. And I'll make it editable. Compile. So compile that. And on the player character, we're going to add another variable. So for their security level. Again, an integer. Okay. And then we need a keycard actor. So let's just make a basic keycard actor. So make a new blueprint class, actor, keycard. And the keycard, we're going to just give it a simple static mesh to begin with. so. And we'll turn collision off on it. Be overlap all. And we'll do actor begin overlap. If that is equal to the player. Delete that. Delete this. We'll do. Actually, we don't need to do that one. We want to do a cast. So cast to first person character. And need two things. We need a variable on this one as well for security level. Again, that'd be an integer. And we'll make it editable as well. All that. And as first person character. Oh, didn't change the security level. So as cast first person character, we're going to get the character's security level. Get security level. And we're going to compare it to this security level. So security level is of the player is less than the security level of the keycard branch. So if the security keycard level is higher than the player's security level, we're going to set the player's security level. So drag that from that pin there, set sec security level to be equal to the security level of the keycard. And then destroy the keycard. Oh, we do it in between here and here. Destroy actor. Compile. Actually, let's put that at the end of this whole entire thing in case we get issues. So false there. Actually, we'll just put the end of this. Okay. We can close that. So if I drag my go to our door, then we now got a security level on our player. We are before we open door, we're going to check the security level of the player and the door. So when I interact with it, we're going to get the player character cast to the first person character and get sec level and compare if that is greater than or equal to the door security level. Let's move this across and that'll go into a branch like so. If it's true, we can play. And what we could do a simple right click after selecting all and collapse to a function. And the function is check security level. So, and actually no, not a function, we don't do a function. Let's do it as a module. And the module. Words. It is a macro. And the macro is check security level. And why we would do that is because in here we get a bit more fancy with it. And output, two outputs. So in is in, and output will be cleared, and another one, another executable, cleared or denied. So false we're going to denied, true goes into cleared. So then on here we'll have these two prongs coming out of it. And that's quite nice because then if we have a denied function come out of here, we can do various things with it, like do little sound effects and so forth. But that'll do for that. Let's go back to the questions we got going on here. Bear with me. Joshua, I'm looking into implementing into my dissertation practical component. I'm going to jump off looking for my. Oh yeah, sure. Let's have a chat, Josh, whenever you want about that. Be interesting to see what you have in mind for that. Ripper Junkie, you're learning about physics calculation at Unreal. May I ask if you know something about it? For example, build a swinging simulation physics like in Spider-Man games. Thanks in advance, Ryan. I'm not too up on physics. It is a lot of just experimentation and getting things right. Swinging physics. It's a mixture of two things because you want the player character to be attached to a swing, basically, and the swing just handles the movement of the character. But then you want the character to also handle the movement of the swing by tweaking its movements left and right a little bit. I haven't ever done that before. It would take me a lot of experimentation to get around to having a look at that. So I don't think I can help you out on that one. As I say, I've never done it before. Nicola Bosin. So regardless of whether actor, pawn, character, stimulus, source component, if it is player controlled, it will be a stimulus. I think so, Nicola. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Kim, when my character's in combat mode, I use find rotation between enemy and player character to make sure it's always facing the enemy. This works fine. However, I'd like the camera to also stay behind the player. Doing a simple camera set rotation does not work properly, probably because I have pawn control rotation set. Any ideas on overcoming this? So if you want it to always be facing the enemy, you have to turn that feature, that tick box off. You can do that in code. I don't really have it here. Hang on, let's have a look. So your camera. No, you won't have it on this one. You will have a tick box over here, and that's basically a variable that you can change. Okay, so use pawn control rotation. So you can use that and access that. So if I drag my first person camera out here, I can use pawn, pawn control rotation. I can set that to be false, and then I would then set focus. No, won't be that. It'd be here. Then you can change the rotation of this, like so, or the alternative would be using the set focus. Set focus. Set. No, that's AI. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to look at that one. But yeah, I would have done it as turn off the flag, and then you can tweak which way it's rotating manually. It's no longer using the pawn control rotation instead. Matthias, how to import an FBX level from Blender without UV mapping errors? Sounds simple, but when I import the entire level, I face this problem. Overlapping UVs. So yeah, Paul, you're getting it right when you are explaining it to him. Yep. So when you unwrap the object, you have to make sure that they aren't overlapping and that you set the UVs to be between the coordinates 0 and 1. Laying things out neatly and tidily. Yeah. It depends on what other errors you may have as well. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the actual error is. There you go. It must be helping each other out. Okay, so we've got to check security level, and it's now moving the door. So on this door, so I made it editable. I can change the security level here to level 3, and I can drag a key out. Drag a keycard out, and that keycard is of level 4. And if I push play, I shouldn't be able to open this door, which I can't. pick this up, and now I should be able to open this door, like so. And that's how you do security levels. So we're going to go a bit fancier with this. We're going to make it so we can close the door, and then we're also going to make it so we can make some lights change colour and error messages. So on my door, let's do the closing. So I want to do a check for when the door is open, if it is opening. So I need a variable here, say is open. And when I do open door, I'm going to set is open to true. Like so. And then when it is open, I'm going to set as false for the closed door and for denied. And that's going to go into reverse. And click compile. We're then going to go to the interact over here, and we're going to do an is open get into a branch, and that goes into the pressed. Now the branch is going to say if is open is true, we're going to close the door, and if it is false, we're going to open the door. So now I can play it and hit the key. I can open the door and I should be able to close the door. Like so. Sweet. Okay, so now I'll do the lighting. So the lighting is handled by the door material. So I'm just going to name this. Let's just rename it so it makes more sense. So door mat. Point. I'm in my final year of games development at uni. I'm working on a portfolio of personal projects to help for job seeking. But do you have any good tips for becoming a games developer in the UK? It depends on what you are seeking as a job. Are you looking at programming or art or something in between or elsewhere? If you can give us a bit more specifics about what kind of role you'd like to go for, I can probably advise you a bit better. Ryan, have you ever done an alt look camera? What do you mean by an alt look? Do you mean hold down the key and it shows you like a different camera position? Is that what you mean? Kim, Ryan, I had a thought about the intro sequence to Bond, the one with the barrel going from left to right and then following Bond. Any thoughts on how to achieve this in Unreal? Yep. You'd have a texture over the camera. As simple as that. That's how they do it in all the games. It's nothing fancy. So you literally just make a texture with a hole in the middle of it, and you just place that right in front of the camera or the viewport, and just tell the viewport to track the player. They could do it even as a widget or as an actual actor in the scene with just that hole in it. That's how they all work. Point. So you're doing gameplay programming. So the first thing is make sure you've got, as I say, you're working on a portfolio. That's a good start. You want to make sure you've got a portfolio of work you can do. Try and make sure you've got something playable in your portfolio if you're doing programming, so people can see what exactly you've done and explain what you did. You want to make sure that you have experience in the languages that they are using or the engines they're using. If they don't, that's fine, because chances are if you've learned Unreal and any Unity, you can probably pick up Unity quite quickly. So that's totally fine. Just be upfront with it and advertise yourself correctly, and you'll be fine. Aim for jobs that aren't big time studios, because the big time studios are going to ask for years of experience. Start yourself off in smaller studios, smaller things like one of the biggest industries at the moment is the sort of gambling industry with all the slot machines and virtual roulettes and virtual poker tables and all that. There's a great industry there, and it's massive in the UK. So try for those sort of studios, the smaller ones there, build up your experience, get used to them, because although you're doing it at university, when you're doing it in real life, it's going to be very, very different. So you want to make sure you get that experience underneath the belt and realise how it is to actually make something to a deadline that from a client or from your boss. It's very, very different. But using that experience, then you can work your way up the ladder and start yourself off at a big time studio. Also, depending on your availability, there are some studios and some places that do internships or summer internships where you can do a summer there and get some experience that way too. Paul, when in first or third person, hold down the Alt key and move the mouse to look around and limit the camera to 180 degrees around the player. I haven't done it before, but it shouldn't be too difficult to put together. You just have to use a Boolean flag, obviously, when you hold down the key. And the camera, you'd limit the player control rotation to be 90 degrees of your current favourite of your facing position. Yeah, I think that'd be it. Again, I have to play around with that and see it, but in my head that makes sense. So you get which way you're facing, and then you plus or minus 90 degrees either way. So when you rotate the camera, you're locked into that position. I know it'd be a fun one to try out. I'll have a play about that one. Kim, what's your favourite game and why? I don't know. I have loads of favourite games. One of my favourite games is Banjo-Kazooie, Division 1. I don't know, I liked its style, I liked its comedy, I liked the levels, they were fun. I also like the Zelda games, so Ocarina of Time, I love a lot. The reason why I like them is I like the exploration. That's probably why I like Banjo more so than anything, because it's a part of exploration, finding things out. I really liked that as a kid, so that kind of stuck with me. I could probably play Banjo 100%, no problem, very quickly. Played it a lot. Cryptic games. Can you make the AI possess vehicles? Yep. So you have the AI controller. The AI controller can then switch over to a different pawn, which will be a vehicle, and the vehicle will be a pawn. And then you can do the inputs of what the pawn does when it moves. It's a bit different than obviously a character, because it don't have character movement, it has vehicular movement. But essentially you make the player controller call the inputs on the vehicle. I've never done AI vehicles, but that's how you do it. Yeah, I'll try it out, Paul, and I think it'd be cool to figure out. Anyway, let's get these lights done. So I'm going to take the RGB value of my emissive color, map here and multiply it. And it's going to be done by a vector parameter. And this would be light color. And we'll start with a default value of white. And then we're going to multiply that again. And we're going to multiply that by a scalar parameter, which would be the light brightness. Ooh. And the default value for that would be 20. And we'll plug all of that into the emissive color. So now we've got big glowy lights on our door. Now, because these are parameters, it means I want to change the instances of the material. So to do that, I need an instance material. So I'm going to right click on my doormat and create material instance. Leave it as that. And apply that to my door. So click on door and change that to doormat instance. Okay, so I'll make a new function for this, and it's called update lights. And I'm going to say when is open get and put that into a branch. So when I want to update lights, if it is open, I'm going to set the lights of my door to a color. So use this set vector parameter value on materials and plug that into true. The parameter name is what we typed into the material, which would be light color in my case. Spelling is important. Parameter value, we're going to come out of there and just search for color. now you can insert a colour. So here, if it's open is true, that's going to be green. So let's make that green, like so. Then I copy and paste all of this and put it into false, and change it colour to red, and click compile. So on my construction script, I'm going to call update lights at the start of the game, like so. And then on my event graph, when I open the door or close the door, I'm going to update the lights. So let's drag that onto there, like there, and drag another one out, like so. Okay. And hit play. You can see the lights are red, and they stay red until I open it. So it's pretty cool. I close it, they go red again. That's pretty cool. What else can we do? So let's make it so we get an error message from the door when we try to open it when it's locked. So I'm going to go into my door here, and we're going to do a timeline for the animation of the lights. So let's make a new timeline. Add timeline, and this is going to be flashlights. So, and open this up, make a new float track for this one, and we'll call this light brightness. And I'm going to set some very quick values for this. So I'm going to do shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click. The first one is going to be a value of 0, 0. The next one is going to be a value of let's do 0.2 and a value of 1, 0.4 and a value of 0, 0.6 and a value of 1. That was 0.2 and a value of 0. 0.2. Okay, well, this one be 0.468 and a value of 0. And one more. Value of 1 time and value of 1. Length is going to be 1, and click compile and go back from that. So on the flashlights, we've got light brightness coming out of this, and we can do the update light same sort of code we do there, but this time it's going to be the door set scalar, because it's a scalar parameter. It's a float basically. Our update is going to go there. Light brightness come out there and multiply that by 20. That's the maximum value of our light brightness. Plug that into my parameter value, and parameter name is light brightness, and that'll do there. So for this, I want to do an error message. So I'm going to do a custom event, and we're going to call this one error. Actually, no, it's locked flash. No, locked error. Okay. So if we on the security level macro, we are going to if it's we've got denied. So on the denied on the event, that's it over here. So on denied, we're going to call the locked error event, like so. Part of that. So now it'll flash when I try to open it. I just need to make it play from the start each time. That's all. So locked should go into play from start. So Flash, 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 flash. Pick up key and open. Cool. Let's see what people are saying in the chat here. Point, have you ever played Destroy All Humans? They're remaking it for 2020 with original voice acting. I love that game. I'm using it as an inspiration for my current project. I didn't actually ever get to play Destroy All Humans. It did look interesting, but no, I never played it. I wonder if I'll get around to playing the remake. Right, if I was to replicate possessed character of Mario Odyssey, would it be as simple as using possessed character in Unreal? I guess so. Yeah, I imagine it would be. Yeah, you just possess you just tell the one you're possessing. You just make Mario invisible, turn him invisible. Change the mesh of the possessed character to have the mustache and hat. So yeah, I imagine it would be just the same as possessed character. Frederick S. Can you make a video on how to make AI attack both players, like a co-op game? Yeah, so I'll get around to that at some point. I don't know when that would be though, as my plate's quite full at the moment. But essentially, what you're doing is you're just getting the nearest playable character. So if you get all characters of the player type, sorry, and work out their distances, work out which one's closest, you can then do that. A way of doing that is also an easy way of doing that is doing a EQS system, because then you get scored based on their distance away from the person who's doing the query. So the one that's closest would get picked. That'd be the easiest way of doing that. Zontic. What about interaction in a third-person game, like playing an animation that opens a door? What you mean, like do you mean the door has an animation or the player has an animation? Interesting to know what you mean there. Would the camera change to the new character if I use possessed character? It should do. If it doesn't, you can change it to that door, to that camera. You just do what's it called? Now get controller, and it is called blend. Set view target with blend. That's what you do if you need to switch cameras to something. But it should do it automatically for you, I think, if you possess something. I've done possessions for a long time. Lazaro Alimony, is it better to use cinema camera, that way you have more control, or why use a regular cam? Cinecam is a lot more control. I don't know what the downsides to it are. I'm guessing it may be a bigger overhead on the rendering, maybe. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it's got a big overhead on the resources, because if it has more options, more valuable to the designer, it probably uses a bit more memory in that regard. So that would be my thinking. Not too sure though, for 100%, but that's what I would imagine would be the case. Oh, sorry, I was having a drink. Point, is it possible to have the movement input in a player controller class? And if so, is this best practice, or is it best to store this in the character class? It's best to do it in the character class, Point. The reason why is, if you think about the player controller, sort of the puppeteer, and the puppet is the character. So if you were to move forward on the player controller every time, it would do exactly the same thing for everything. However, if you do a move forward input on the character, the pawn, the thing that you're moving, you can then customize how each one will move exactly. So characters may move the same, but if you do it on, say, a vehicle, they'd move even differently. And you wouldn't have to do different controllers for it. It would work still the same. It's just receiving different inputs and just telling it to do different stuff. So the move forward on a different actor, or different pawns rather, would be better to be finer tuned in the actual character or actor themselves. The controller is less right. It's more about inputs rather than outputs. Your character's handling all the outputs, like the movements, for example. Currently, I have my movement in my character C++ class, but I'm wondering if I should try move it to the player controller class. No, you want to keep it in your character class. You receive the inputs through the player controller, and the player controller passes those onto the character class. I'm trying to think what else we could do to this door to make it a bit more fuller featured. Let's do the proper key card here. So I'm going to do. I've got a key card asset somewhere. Yep. No. Let's just call it key card. Let's go BP and import my key card FBX. Import. And this thing's going to use key card. I'm going to give it a rotating movement as well. So go down here, add the rotating movement component. Simulation, you get this effect. Let's just put a jaunty angle. So it looks like that. Cool. And close this. Call this key card underscore mat. And I've got a texture for it as well. Do I put it on here? Pardon my mess of my textures. FBX modeling. Texture. Where'd I put it? Oh, it's there. Oh, God's sake. No. Just rename this one. Keycard mesh. Port keycard texture. Oh. And the keycard material. Multiply it by this. Default value of red. So if you do have any questions, if you just joined us, by all means, put them in the chat. This is question time. I've just made a door and some keycard stuff whilst we're going through questions. But if you have one, by all means, throw it on. Metallic, I'm going to multiply it by this. 0.6. Like so. So that means now only the bit that's white should be metallic-y. And then I have to turn down the roughness. So here I'm going to do a roughness of minus 1 minus to there, so it should make the white bit smooth and shiny. So apply, close this, and our key card should be nice and shiny on the red bit. Pick it up and bosh, in I go. Cool. We're going to tweak more of the door animation, so let's go to the door. opening, and I'm going to make these autoed so they're more of a curve in the animation, so it's a nice softer opening, a softer closing, like so. Very nice. Okay, let's what else can we do? Could have a mess about with a keypad idea, I guess. Point. Any idea how to switch which character pawn my controller is possessing in C++ possible? No, as if this is too off topic right now. By the way, your AI series was a lifesaver for me last year. Oh, I'm glad you like the AI series. Point. More to come of AI stuff in future. So stay tuned for that. Any idea how to switch pawn character pawn? So I haven't got the C++ open in front of me, but if I show you in Blueprint, it's essentially the same sort of function. So, so on the controller object, you should have a possess function, okay? And the possess function takes in a pawn inside your world. So you need a reference to a pawn of what you want to possess, and in your possess function, the parameter for it will require that pawn. But this will be on your controller. It should be already built into it. But if not, check the documentation. But it should be there. Yeah, Kim. So if you want to get the Bond barrel sequence, any ideas how to get a flood flying down from top to bottom? That's literally, again, put in front of the camera. So I'll see if I can actually get this working. I can actually show you. Let's open up to Photoshop. And show you how games do this. Just loading up now. Bring Photoshop down. Create new. And let's do a large thing here. So let's do a 1024 by 1024. Okay, so this thing's going to be all black, except for a hole in the middle. It would help if I didn't make it a black hole as well. Like so. There's your Bond thing, okay, so we can do that. File, save as, and we'll try to my desktop and save it as Bond_1. Then we're going to do the blood flow. So again, quickly do this. I'll tell you what, we don't need to do that, we just do a fill. But I'll show you actually how to do that, the wavy bit at the bottom. So if I go into my pen, so, and then we can, okay. Why won't it let me fill this thing? Oh wait, make selection. Okay. And we can paint that blue red. Okay. So that'd be my Bond 2. So file, save as Bond_2. Right. So let's import those in. So, and then we need an actor. bond intro, and we'll do 2 planes in here. So do a plane, and this thing is going to be so, and make another plane. It's not connected to it whatsoever. We'll call this the blood plane. Rename blood plane. So we need to make those materials for those 2 things. So we're going to right click on here, create material. Right click on here, create material. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Stop. There we go. 1-to-1 matte. We're going to use the same texture for a mask, so let's make this a masked, and that will go into mask. But I'm going to flip this, so 1 minus, so the whole is black and the rest of it is white. What you get is, it loads up a hole. Apply that, and give that plane odd one that. And I'm just going to move it slightly forward. So, no, slightly back. So the blood's going to cover up the hole. So on the blood one, very similarly, we are going to, because we want to use the red channel, we're going to go red channel out and 1 minus that red channel. Oh no, not 1 minus, because actually that's what we want. So that will go into opacity mask, and opaque it will become masked. And let's actually round that up. So, like that. So, we should get the hole at the bottom. So, then actually let's make this translucent instead of masked, and that will go into opacity instead. Let's see how that looks. Okay, and we'll come back to this. We'll make that the blood one will probably need a bit more work. So blood will become bond 2, like so. Oh, I need to rotate it. Okay. And its starting position will be up here. Cool. So on the event graph for this, I can do thing where I could do a custom event and go blood, and the blood can go into a timeline, blood animation, and we can go into a float, blood position, and just do a very simple. So first one is 0, 0, and then the next one would be, say, 3 and 1, and I want to multiply that then by the value, how far it's gone up. So in this case 90, so times that by -90 and move it down. And so we get our blood plane, set relative location, an update, split, dead. Right, so that goes that. And then all you do, once you've got that in place, is you have your blood plane actor, your bond actor here, like so. And you have a camera looking through this thing. So, like for example, we could actually make a camera actually on this. Camera. And just tweak that camera in the actual thing. So you can see I've got a camera selected here. I could go into camera tools here and just move the camera where I want it to be. That'll do. The picture needs. Should have made the circle a bit smaller, but that'll do. So if you want it to animate, you do it as a level sequencer, and the sequencer then would animate that, and then on the sequencer you call the event of blood, and the blood will start animating too. So if I were to say, let's just do it on the player character actually. Actually no. Do it on the level blueprint, just so you can see how this works. If I go begin play, and I want to get reference to this, so click on it and you can get reference. And we want to get the player controller, set view target with blend, change it to bond intro, blend time is 0, so it'll just snap to it straight away. And so when you play the game, you get this. And you make the camera follow whatever you want. So if you had something else coming on the screen, walking across, you just tell it to set focus to that camera and it'll just track it. So once you've done that, over time, again, we'll just do it on the bond intro thing here. Begin play. And timer event. So after 3 seconds, it will do the blood intro. 1, 2, 3. Oh, got it the wrong way. Hang on. The reason why is because I've already offsetted it. So my times up by 9 is 90. Then 1, 2. Start off as 90, so I want to add 90 to it. Add 90. It's because I've already moved it up. That's why it's being like that. Push play. And off you go. Do things. So we can make this thing a bit more translucent. Emissive color. And multiply this. Actually, no, let's make this actually change the blend mode of this thing to additive. I wonder if that'll work. Let's have a look. Right. Oh, still shading, compiling. Hang on. Let finish compiling the shaders. Right. And you can animate the camera then to do stuff. But that's pretty much legit how you do it. Let's keep going. Let's make this this bit of fun. So do that. Again, I could do it all on timelines, but ideally you do this on a sequence. Actually, let's do it on a sequence. So cinematics, add level sequence, Bond intro sequence. And we're going to add track. I'm going to add Bond intro sec to the track. I'm going to add a transform. And we're going to do a location there. And we're going to Y. Oh, I've got the wrong thing selected. Just delete. Add track. Right click on there. Add Bond intro. That's what I wanted. Add track. And we want the camera component. Not camera component. We actually want to move the whole entire thing. Delete that. Add the transform. Move that there. A little bit there. And a little bit back. So forth. And what we could do then is tell in the level blueprint to get that sequence. So I can't do it from there. I have to do it from here. Reference. And then from here we can then play sequence playout. So at the start of the game, should see that little movement. And when you die, we could make it so let's tweak that a bit more. So 330 at 255, 400, and then over here we're going to set the rotation to roll a little bit to the left, and its pitch we're going to pitch do that and make it go down a little bit too. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to all buy it in my head, so this looks pretty decent. Obviously you time it better. And I've got it facing the wrong way, but there you go. It should go down. There you go. So I've been a bit distracted by everyone by doing that. That was quite fun. So masked. We've done masked, so we can make the hole visible. We've done ceiling, so ceiling rounds up. So if it's above between 0 and 1, it'll round up to 1. How do you make an online battle royale game? You have a load of people working with you. Simple answer to that, Vanda. Online battle royale games are hard work, lots of work. I recommend no one to really do it unless you've got a team of 100 people helping you and loads of time and experience doing it. It is a lot of work, not worth doing unless you have that. Can you make a companion AI? Yeah, that's actually on the to-do list. I've been working on making an animal companion, which is a bit difficult because you've got different kind of movement setups for the animals, but that's something that's in the works at the moment. No ETA on when that'll be though. Glad you like it, Kim. Yeah, so this archive will be posted on Patreon straight after the stream, if not early morning tomorrow. And it'll be released in a couple of weeks' time for everyone else on YouTube. Point: do you tell any of your students about YouTube channel, and are any of them patrons? I do. I flog my channel like mad to my students. It's really useful actually, because if we're doing something in class and they have a question about something, rather than me sitting over them and explaining how something, I could tell them check out my video if I've already got a video on it, and they'll check it out, and I'll answer any questions they have during or afterwards. But what that allows me then to do is go over to other people and make sure they're okay and help them fix any certain issues they have. Because all work on different projects, all got different ideas and all different things, so it's kind of mixed mash of different things. But I don't think any of them are patrons. But what I do for my students is if they want any of my videos that are locked down to patrons, I give them the link to it anyway. So one of my students is working on a shooter AI stuff, and I just gave him the access to all the videos as part of that. So it does have some benefits being my student. Hello Johnny. Hello. How can I create an equipment system in Unreal? I've got a video series all about that. Check it out. That's a method of doing it. It's not the only way of doing it, but that's a method of doing it. So check out that video series on my channel. Just search for equipment series and you'll see it come up. There's one episode left of that coming out soon, probably this week for everyone else. It's on the Patreon already, but it'll probably be coming out this week for people. In the definition of jump loop, would you just play an animation of the player falling? Yep, that's all it is. It's just like an animation of them just falling over and over again. Do you have any experience with 3D modeling and rigging characters? I sculpted a character in Blender, but kind of got stuck. Can be bothered with doing the retopology? Yes, I teach my students how to do 3D modeling, rigging, retopologizing, animation. I teach it all. It's not my specialization, but I can do it. I hate doing rigging and I hate doing retopologizing. That's why I try to avoid it if I can. But luckily, I've got a member of staff, a colleague who can help with that because that is more his bag. So I just pass him all those stuff on to him. But yeah, I have experience with Maya mostly. Paul M. Can I ask what is the reasons to use a first and a third person character message? Why not just use a third person character mesh? You could use a third person mesh, totally fine. The problem with a third person mesh is obviously you've got a lot more animations and a lot more work to worry about that you don't maybe need to. Whereas if you just have to animate arms, it's a lot easier. If you are doing third person anyway because you're doing something like multiplayer, yeah, totally viable to do. It could be a resource thing as well because it's less vertices to have on the screen loaded up, less material, less textures, all that stuff. But some games now just use third person mesh, so you can look down and see their feet and stuff like that. Yeah. Cryptic games. How do you get the AI to climb vertical walls to get to the player? So that is using a something called a nav link. I've done one video on nav links. I'm going to do more videos on nav links. So that's how you get enemies to climb walls and open doors. So we'll get round to that. But check out nav links if you want to get a head start on that. Ripper Junkie, do I like Harry Potter? I do like Harry Potter. A lot of my students compared me to look like Harry Potter. So if you see a picture of me and you think so, let us know if you think that's they're right and think that I look like Harry Potter. But yeah, I do. Why do AAA studios use both meshes? Again, it's probably optimization. They can afford to optimize and they're trying to get as much out of it as possible. So they'll optimize. That's the one top reason I can think of. There may be more, but that's the one I'm thinking of. Get a gaming job. Hello, Mr. Laley. Just wanted to say that I really appreciate your videos and I'm trying to learn as much as possible to slowly build up a base of knowledge. Thanks, man. You're welcome. Glad you're enjoying the videos. Point. How did you go about becoming a teacher? Do you need to do a full 3-year teaching degree kind of thing, or are there shorter courses you can do? What's the best option? So my education was in university doing a games development course. So that's my 3 years at university. I got a degree, an honours degree in games development. After that, it was about 2008, 2009. So that was just after the recession happened. So bad times. So finding a job was tough. So I was unemployed for a little bit. Went for a few job interviews, didn't get anything, but eventually landed up doing LSA work, which is where you have a helper in the classroom. It was helping students with learning difficulties. So that was my job. I was helping students as learning difficulties as sort of part-time job just to pay off some bills and so forth. So I was working there, and one of the classes I was supporting was a games development class. And in there, the tutor really saw what I did and suggested I go for a job interview for a opening they have. And I did that and went to college. Got teaching into college. Now in the UK, if you want to teach in the college FE, so that's like 16 to 18-year-olds, you don't need a formal teaching qualification to start. What happens is, most of the time, which was the case for me, is that you start teaching and you are doing what we call a PGCE course alongside it. So whilst teaching, I would spend one night a week at a class learning how to be a teacher. So you do that for 2 years and you get that qualification as well. You get that degree as well. So you will have your specialism degree and a teaching qualification degree as well. And that will get you a job in colleges just fine. If you want to teach in primary and secondary, then you need to do a specific degree in teaching for those ones as well. But there are some loopholes or workarounds where you can get into those roles with a PGCE too. And that's about it. Teaching's really good. Teaching is proved very valuable for me, basically, because it forces you to learn quick and understand things better. Because you have to explain it to people, it kind of forces you to pick up skills that you not necessarily would have found on your own. So like Unreal, for example, I taught entirely myself because I was teaching it. Same with Game Maker as well. I didn't know Game Maker when I started teaching. That's what they were learning, so I had to learn it before I taught it. And that's kind of the number one valuable skill you need as a teacher, is the ability to go and learn something very, very quickly. If you can pick up skills very, very quickly, then you'll probably be a good teacher. So if my students come up to me with a question of how to do something, and I don't know what it is, I'll be honest to them. I say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll be right back with the answer. Because my skill that they don't have yet is I'm able to learn very, very quickly. So I can go find out a solution, figure it out, why it works, and come back and reword it, retopologize it so much so, and give it to them in a much more layman's terms. But yeah, anyway, that's that. Raphael, hey Ryan, thank you so much for your tutorials. You are welcome. I'm glad you like them. Cryptic Games, can you make the AI either surrender or keep attacking the player based on his health? Yeah, that's a simple thing. You just make it so on the behavior tree, you check the enemy's health each time it goes through a branch, and if it is a certain value, you go down a certain other branch. It sounds very simple to do in my head, but if you want a good way of how to do branching behaviors, check out my Advanced Dialogue System series. There I use behavior tree to do branching dialogue, but it's actually essentially the same as doing it for health. Raphael, you really teach and not try to make up a follow step-by-step tutorial. Yep, that was the whole reason. So I got into this channel because my students were going off and following tutorials at home during half terms and so forth, and coming back with game code that was either poorly made or really at a level that they shouldn't know. And when I ask them, do you know what that does? Or they ask, how do I tweak it or change it for their particular thing? I'll quiz them and like, okay, you should be able to tell me because you watched some videos on this, yeah, or something like that. And they never could, because what they were watching were videos by people who were just saying, do this, do that, and it's done. And that's not a good way to learn, because then if you just copy someone else's code and what they're doing, you haven't learned anything of that code. You've just learned how to copy. So I set about to try and make videos that explained the nodes as I was making them, explained the logic behind it. So with that logic, then they could then take on and tweak and change it based on their particular needs. So I could teach something once to them, and then they can tweak it to make it unique for their game design. And that was the sole reason why I started the channel, because I felt like the resources on YouTube weren't entirely great. There are a couple of good ones out there, but by and large, the most popular ones do have their flaws, and I've seen some janky code, janky solutions to problems that I thought, no. sit back. Let me show you how to do this one properly. So yeah, different way of thinking. Point, were game development jobs really rare around the financial crash? That sounds like it sucked big time. It did suck. They were very rare. Jobs across the board were rare, because companies were having a lot less money to deal with, so weren't really hiring. Yeah, so it was tough. I managed to get a couple of interviews, but that was it. That's as far as it went. I guess you needed to be more experienced at that time because they weren't going to take risks. That's the thing. Do you need to use blend spaces when setting up a character movement in Unreal? Depends on the movement, but yes. If you want smoother movements, yes, you need blend spaces. So if you're doing a run and a walk, you can put that onto a blend space, and it makes it a lot easier to animate that transition between idle to walk to run. Yeah. Getting a gaming job. I was wondering, is there a simple way of pausing the game while opening up a menu in game, like pause or map? Yep, I've got a video up on my channel. Go check it out. About how to pause a game. Check it out, and you'll see it there. Mike Flynn, I've been watching all your tutorials and they are the best I have found so far, and thank you for sharing your knowledge of UE4. I am wondering if you have thought of doing a Spline River video. It is already on the to-do list. I'm actually working on something similar to it this week, so in some spare time. So yep, it's on the to-do list. I will be getting to it in due course. I've got a whole list of water-based videos coming out. I've got one water video out, and I want to do some more water videos, so that'll be part of that at some point. Yes. Point, I'm thinking of becoming a patron now. I've got my student loan, at least $1 or maybe $5, because you've helped me so much. You deserve it and more. What videos would I get access to right now if I did? So Patreons. Hang on, let me get up on my other screen. I can give you an exact list of videos they have available to them. If you actually want to find out what videos are actually available, you can go to the actual website, patreon.com/Ryan Daly, and look at the posts. You can see the posts for all the videos there. But in the meantime, let me have a look, and I can tell you exactly what videos they have. So they have the whole of the Shooter AI series up there now, and they have the beginning of the next series, which is a shopkeeper system. So they've got 3 videos for that currently, I think. So they've got hang on. So they have, patrons have the 3 shopkeeper videos so far. There's more of that coming next week. They have some videos about lighting and how it works. The rest of the Shooter AI series, which is what I said, which is 12 episodes of that. A video about opacity maps and how they work. The end of the equipment system series, they have that. They have a video on double jumping, how to achieve that. And oh, maybe. And that's about it. So currently that is, I'll count them up actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 videos exclusive to patrons at current time, plus the last 2 weeks of live streams, including this one, available to them, and that's what they have. Nicole, is that Nicole? I can't read it. Nicole, you like Daniel Radcliffe and you're from England. Maybe you're twin brothers. Maybe. We may well be. I got called Daniel Radcliffe a lot. In fact, I do have a picture of myself dressed up as Harry Potter for Halloween one year. I got some strange looks when I went to the club dressed as Harry Potter. It was quite interesting. Kim North, what's the difference between a LERP and a timeline? So they are a bit similar, but a LERP, which is hard to do without a visual aid. Bear with me. Let's do Photoshop. Okay. Teacher mode. Let's go. So if I make a little graph here. Okay. So a lerp starts at 0 and it can go to 1, 1. Okay. So a lerp is it'll take a value and it's a linear interpolate. So the line will only ever be linear, okay, between the two. So for example, it goes, oh, hello. Goes like that. So this is a linear interpolate. So if the value is 0.5 here on the alpha, we call this alpha. Trying to do this with a mouse is very difficult. Alpha 0.5 will then get us a value of there. Okay, so if I have a texture A and texture B, 0.5 would get me halfway between A and B, so overlay the two of them. Whereas if I have 0.75, oh hello, it would give me more of A and less of B. Yeah, so that's how lerps work. It's a linear interpolate. So it's a straight line only, whereas a timeline is literally a sequence of events. And this will only ever go between 0 and 1, by the way. A linear interpolate only ever goes 0 and 1. So a linear timeline can go between 0 and anything. Okay, and it doesn't have to be linear. You can do curves and things. Oh, hello. Okay, and the value on the sides could also be infinite. It could be whatever you like it to be. It could be negative as well, and it will output a value. This is just outputs a value. Okay, and it's a sequence of events that will happen over time, outputting a value. So lerping we typically use for materials, but you can do it for other things as well. So if you want something to change between one point and another point, you can totally do that. It's all about a matter of changing something, and lerp is like a fade. You want to fade between one thing to another thing, one value to another value. That's about it, really. Yeah. Point. It says you can vote with $5 Patreons. How does that work exactly? Is it done on Patreon? If so, when? So yeah, so on Patreon you get a vote. I can actually get us on the screen actually. Bear with. I can actually show you. So patrons at the start of each month get a post uploaded onto the Patreon feed. Let me just get this loaded up. So it's down to this screen here. So this is October's one. So there'll be 4 options they can pick from, and these options are usually picked from suggestions that I get through comments or Patreon itself. And if you are a silver member, you can click on which one you want to vote for. And currently you can see that next month, or this month, sorry, by the end of this month, patrons will get the menu and menu screens and how to do that video this month. So each month they get a new one out. That video will probably be exclusive to patrons for a number of months, probably 1 or 2 months. So yeah, at the start of each month you do that, and then by the end of the month that video will be out. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Paul M, can you use a timeline in a landscape material instead of using lerps between texture layers? No. No. The reason why is because you need a delta time for timelines. It needs to be whereas materials are fixed, they don't change. They don't do anything like that over time. Yeah. Kim, question time is the most fun of Saturday streams. We should have one more often. Yeah, sorry. I'm glad you guys like it. Say more live streams. We'll see how they go. We'll review them in time and see what other people would like to see. I like doing them. I like doing question time. I like talking to people about stuff. So I'm quite an open person. I don't mind talking about stuff either. But yeah, we'll probably be going for what's time? A few more minutes now. We'll carry on for a few more minutes, and then we'll end the stream. So if you've got any last questions to ask, please throw them up into the chat, and I'll answer them as best I can. I need a sip of my drink. Hang on. Okay, Kim North, which game am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to playing Outer Worlds. That comes out next week, I think. I'm looking forward to that. After that one, probably Cyberpunk. Yeah, I think they're the top two moment. Yeah, which is annoying because I don't get much time to play games anymore. So unfortunately, they're two very big games. So it'll probably take me years to finish them. Mike Flint, okay, this is a big one. When you do a level switch, is it better to have all the levels in one load, or should you load them as needed and carry all information, inventory, suppliers, health bar, to a new loaded level, and even go back to the previous level? How would you save the layout of a level, such as when you go back to it, dead enemies don't pop up, back up, and doors and things that have been destroyed stay that way? Could you just save the level as is using a new name linked to your playthrough all the time? Okay, so a few things there. If you are doing a level switch, like a proper level switch, so you're opening a whole new level map, you'll need to, and you want to save that data. You need to put into a save game object and save all the positions of all the actors in that save game object, which you can do. It can take some time to do that, but you can do that. Check out my save game code video, and you'll see how to accomplish that at a very basic level, but it's just that times whatever things you want to actually save. As long as you put the information onto the save game object, it will save it, and if you then load from that, it will then read and load that correctly. The bigger the save file, the more likely you'll need a load screen. A load screen is like a curtain that you hide the level away from the player as it's loading, because you don't want them to see the whole game just popping in loads of things as they load up. So we hide it with a curtain, which is a load screen, and yeah, that's the way you would do that. If it is really persistent, then I would recommend just using level streaming instead. If it's really persistent like that, at least if it's persistent in each game instance. So if it's persistent in the current gameplay, then use level streaming. But if you need to store it between gameplay, so game sessions, so play it one day, turn it off, play another game another day, then use save game data. Yeah. Get a gaming job. I'm trying to set up a first person point and click. You can't move, but the camera follows the cursor, but only within set boundaries. So you can't look around 360. Have you done something similar? Oh right, okay. I haven't done something similar, but we can try and make one right now. Let's do that. Controller, fixed player. Add a camera. Camera there, and the camera is now going to be locked off. So we're going to use pawn control rotation. And what we'll do is we'll say on a tick, camera rotation is set rotation. I can't remember if it's relative or world. Let's say world rotation. It's going to be set to the get world rotation of the camera, and what we'll need to do is clamp it. Can we clamp straight to it? No. So we need to split those, and you want to clamp the the yaw, don't you? So yaw will be a clamp of clamp. Clamp angle. Clamp. Oh, let's try clamp float. Let's see if clamp angle works later. So plug that into the yaw. Minimum value of minus 90 and a maximum of 90, like so. Okay. And let's just give it a first person character. Put the fixed player in. Oh, I've got to tell it not to do that. Nope. Set done. Player starts. We'll get rid of that. Where's that thing? Nope. In that case, we need to tell it the game mode. Default form class. Player. Auto process player 0. Try that. Okay, so I've chosen the right player, but it's not moving that. So camera, let's turn off the tick. Is that what's causing issues? Oh, I've got to plug these in. That's why. Okay. Nope. Okay. This is me trying to figure stuff out. Just messing around with figures until I get something. Okay, so none of it's working. It's processing it. So use control pawn location. What am I messing up? Look at this one. I've got the settings correct. That's on. It's fine. Don't know. Why are we not allowing us move? Class defaults. Rotation. Let's try that. I not got that on. No, we've got that on. Don't know. Why won't that work? Oh, it's because I'm well tired. I'm missing loads of stuff. I don't know if people are writing about this. I have to have a look. Hang on. So in here we just need to copy mouse inputs. My dumb brain not thinking straight. Quite late. It's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning here. Okay, now we got that. Okay, so now I can move. Now if I lock it down with the tick. Nope. I can still do the full 360. What if I mess about with the yaw here? Let's see what this prints out. I put in yaw. Okay, so if I want it to maxim, okay, that doesn't help. Okay. Can't clamp that. Let's maybe set relative rotation then. Set relative. Oh. Set relative rotation. Rotation. The camera. Try this. No, okay, I'll have to sit down and figure that one out another time. Let's go back and have a look. Thanks, Point. Thank you for your support. Mike. Then, okay, I thought of something like that. I'm doing a large game. I need to have separate levels to keep memory loading and textures, but I need to be able to go back to previous levels. I like the reminds me of when I did Visual Basic 6. Yeah, blueprints are really cool. I like them a lot. Point on my Instagram, I showed a gate with Epic Games logo on it. What was that all about? So I went to visit Epic Games opposite offices in Guildford in London. It wasn't for the channel stuff. It was for meeting and greeting someone there related to my college and what I was trying to do for my college. So I was trying to get some ties in with Epic to work with the college a bit. So yeah, I went to visit their offices. It was kind of cool. It's not a game dev office. It's sort of just an outreach office, but it's still very snazzy. It was a good experience. Yeah, UE4 can seem hard at first, Mike, but stick with it, and yeah, it's very quick to prototype stuff out of it. It's really good. Just wondering what age group are into UE4. Well, I teach everything from 16 up, so at least 16-year-olds do. Quarter Lord, would it be a player control your inputs? I forgot the exact node. What are the mouse events plugged into your? I can't remember. Yeah, we tried that. That wouldn't work because the access value is changing when the mouse moves. It's not additive value. It's a raw value like that. Just for funsies, let's get the world rotation of the camera. Get world rotation and print string that. Let's keep having a crack at this. Oh, hello. So, no, yeah, that's what I wanted to change, wasn't it? So your isn't being clamped, but it's the one that's changing. So that's what I want to do. But if I then do this first, then this, what does that do? Doesn't affect it. Why not? Clamp angle. Let's see what that does. This is how you work, by the way. You just throw stuff at it and see what the hell's going on. Let's try that. Nope. Don't know. Get player controller. Get your input scale now. Rotation. Set control rotation. Let's do that instead. Let's just see what happens. It'll probably break it, but let's have a crack at that instead. Oh god. Oh, I'm not doing that. Rather than clamp angle, let's clamp the float. That was weird. That movement to the left, I didn't do. It was doing it all by itself. Yeah, it's still doing it. I think it's because it's going around. It's going to like 90 and then switching to minus 90 straight away, which is not what I want. Rotation. It's something to do with this. Say set control rotation. You're doing something like that. Because that's the most luck we've had so far. Get rid of this stuff. We don't need that. Compare previous XYZ to current XYZ and calculate your. Don't know. Don't know if that'll actually do anything. Compare previous XYZ to current XYZ and calculate your. It could do, but. Let's just print out this value here. Kim, P, Y, and R stands for pitch, yaw, and roll. So moving mouse to the right only. And it kind of wants to set it straight to minus 90. I don't know. I'll play with this and I'll see if there's a way of doing it nice, neatly. If you hard code yaw to 0, it would be just looking forwards the whole entire time. Yaw is its rotation on the spot, basically. Point, do I have a schedule for when I upload tutorials on YouTube and Patreon? So Patreons kind of get as of and when I make them. So I usually get like 2 a week, maybe more, depends on how busy I am. But I get them as of and when I make them. So usually a weekday. Most of the time it's on a Monday, but you get them each week. On YouTube, they are released publicly every Thursday and every Sunday. Well, it's every Thursday and most Sundays. It depends if I've got loads of videos on stock. I'll give one out on Sunday as well. And then we live stream every Saturday evening / Sunday morning. Anyway, we'll wrap it another time. I'll figure out this character movement stuff later. Okay, I think we're going to end it there. We've been going for 2 hours now. So thanks very much for watching and joining me tonight. Don't forget, if you want to watch this archive of this whole entire stream, as well as many other videos, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley and just donate at least $1 and you get access to that content as well. And other upper tiers will get you more content as well there, including access to Discord, voting, and project files. Thank you for watching this stream. Every Saturday at midnight, so Saturday / Sunday morning, we stream every night. And this week, or not next week, this week or next week is the 30th of October. Sorry, I'm very tired. 30th of October is our special 2nd year anniversary of the channel live stream event where we're going for about 5 hours straight, and we'll do 1 hour of every single type of live stream we do, which is 4 types, and then the 5th type is trying to make a whole game within 1 hour. So I'm just going to speed run it and just see if I can make a game inside of an hour. So wish me luck on that one. But yeah, please join us on the 30th of October for that. And we'll do special promotions and giveaways as well for that day, because it is a special day after all. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks again for everyone for all your support. We'll be doing this without you guys, so I'm glad to hear that you guys are liking what I'm doing. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and spread the word. Thanks very much everyone, and have a good night. Bye bye.